conversation about traditional roles within a marriage. Our next guest predated today's influencers embracing the traditional married life. Her highly controversial relationship book was called The Surrendered Wife. Laura Doyle's book argues the key to a happy marriage is for wives to stop controlling their husbands. And when it was first published in 2001, Laura found herself at the center of a media firestorm. Critics said things like, she's certainly entitled to her opinion, but maybe she should just keep some of it to herself. Others said, please do not give in to Surrendered Wife. The book became a New York Times bestseller, which has been translated into 19 languages, published in 30 countries. 25 years later, Laura's framework has produced a follow-up book. It's called The Empowered Wife, along with a coaching business and a podcast, which promises to fix even the most hopeless of relationships. Take a look.
I'm Laura Doyle, and today we're talking about how to be a good wife. So I gave myself at least a 9 out of 10 as on the good wife scale, but I wasn't scoring so high on the wife scale with John. That's because I was actually an overbearing, prickly porcupine of a wife who thought she knew better than him about just about everything.
Ooh, okay, this is good. Damn, Laura's standing by. Before she starts our conversation, this is what she wrote in her book at the time, A Surrendered Wife. Raise your hand if this applies to your life. You are vulnerable when you used to nag. Who is vulnerable? Who nags? Okay, we've got that in here. She says, a surrendered wife is trusting when she used to be controlling, respectful, where she used to be demeaning. Who is a controlling wife? Nobody answering, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Grateful where she used to be dissatisfied. Who's grateful to be married? I like that. Has faith where she once had doubt. Who has faith in their husband? Those are simple enough. Okay. We got some hands down over here. Laura Doyle is here with us now. Welcome to the Tam fam. Okay. You said it. You've been married 35 years. 35 years. This book is still as popular as ever. What is a good wife?
A good wife respects her husband because she.
What's wrong? Okay, what do you mean by respect? What do you mean by respect?
Well, you know, when I first got married, I thought I could improve my husband.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to tell him how to be more ambitious and clean up better, and also how to be more romantic, just a few things, dress a little better, maybe eat healthier. And for some reason...
You sound like me now. Oh, God.
And for some reason, he became distant and disinterested, and he wasn't interested in spending time with me or even making love to me, and I couldn't understand why.
Well, people have always felt you put the pressure on women to be the surrendered and not the responsibility on the man.
Oh, well, you're not surrendering to anyone. It's a state of being. It's the way you're showing up, accepting and being grateful. Like this woman paying attention.
Okay, what does it mean being grateful to grateful for your husband?
Well, so for example, my husband does the dishes, right? He'll do the dishes, and which I love.
Right.
There's our kitchen, and I can either say, "Oh, thank you so much for doing the dishes," or I can say, "You know, you missed a spot here on the counter."
So was this more about what you believe women do more than often, which is nagging? You think we nag?
I was a terrible nag. I'm not proud to admit it, but it was the only thing I knew.
Okay.
It's what I saw modeled growing up, but you know, my parents are divorced. I was following a failed recipe.
Okay, so some of the trad wives now say, like, they give up all of their financial independence.
Right.
Do you advocate for giving up all financial independence?
My husband handles all the finances for our family.
Really?
Yeah. And I love it because
do?
you know what? I used to do the finances, and it was very stressful for me.
They're still heckling like 20 years ago. It's like your book came out yesterday. Okay, so you still, even though... I mean,
love feeling taken care of.
You love feeling taken care of.
We go to a restaurant, I don't even bring my purse because
I know he's going to treat me.
But you've been very, very successful with this book.
Oh, yes.
Do you make more money than your husband?
I make a lot of money.
You make more money than your husband, but he still manages the money?
You know what? We work together. My husband is the first person that actually published this book.
Yeah.
It was self-published originally, and he did that, and he made it all possible. So it's kind of hard to separate.
Okay, so you did it together.
We did it together.
You did it
yeah.
together. What do you think people still don't understand about being a surrendered wife?
Well, I think people mistake it as an obedient wife or a subservient wife, when really it's more about me getting to be the princess, receiving special treatment. I get gifts, compliments, and help, and my husband adores me. I always wanted to feel desired.
Right.
I always wanted to feel taken care of.
We're not going to let you go. We're going to let you get your words in. Laura is not going away. We're going to be joined by a journalist and podcaster who calls herself a trad wife expert and explains why, whether it's the surrendered wife or the trad wife, why so many women are still finding it appealing in their homes after the break. Welcome back. Joining the conversation is Joe Piazza, journalist, best-selling author, and host of the podcast Under the Influence. Last year dedicated a whole week to the trad wife trend. Please welcome Joe via Skype to the conversation. Joe, thank you for joining us. You researched this, your recent article, The Rise and Fall of the Trad Wife. It doesn't look like it's falling. The numbers are staggering. But there are some, Joe, who believe that this is a reaction to women being told that you can have it all and realizing that you can't. And so as a result, instead of trying to be successful in the home and out of the home, they decide to just double down on being a quote-unquote trad wife.
Yeah, I think about this a lot. And one of the things I'm like, why can't we just have nice things? Why can't we have both of these things? I think the girl boss trend did no favors to women. The corporate world is not kind to women. It is not kind to mothers. It is exhausting.
It is. That is so true. Yes.
We're seeing a lot of young women leaning out, and they look at this content, and it's beautiful, and it looks easy. It makes motherhood look easy and aspirational. My concern is that it flattens the actual labor and hard work of motherhood. Being a mom, being someone who works in the home is labor. And these accounts just make everything look fluffy, beautiful.
Yeah. I think I believe that because listen, I just tried to do a cooking video yesterday for my new cookbook. It took me more time than do a whole show. So they're doing the content, and I'm like, that's a job. That's hours away from watching your kid.
Yes. And look, I understand that making content is a way to be able to be with your children and also to have a job and make money. A lot of these content creators, though, let's be honest, it's performance because they are making money. Every woman here said she's making money. So a lot of them are performing this for Instagram, and it's not their reality. And I think that young women need to realize a lot of this is fake. A lot of this is a performance. They're making a magazine.
Joe, we're going to have to do a follow-up to this show because we're tight on time, but you've hit on a lot of brilliant things. We want to have you in studio and talk about this more. There's going to be a part 2 to this one. And before we go, I got to read one bit of advice from Laura because she's got 2 phenomenal books. Here we go. You ready for it, ladies? Yes. Your husband does not want your opinion. Laura's latest book, The Empowered